going. How is everybody today? Hi, Kayla. How are you today? We're just doing a little pop-up, just a little pop-a-loo. Let me do my broadcast to let everyone know I'm on. So how's everybody doing today? Woo, that light is so bright. I don't know why I'm blinded. I'm blinded by the light. So we're going to just do some little creations today. I've never gone on and shared my wolves, like how I make them. They're poor like anything else, I guess. But I wanted to just go ahead and do one today. Ow! Wanted to do one online today so that everybody could see kind of my process in them. I guess the number one thing to start out with is that they are one of my favorite pieces and probably one that I pour my heart and soul into the most because one, it's a charity, and two, it's for my brother. So that is kind of the process that I go through. I think about a memory that sparks just emotions in me, and then I pour the wolf according to that. Now, the two wolves that we're pouring today, one is going to be shared live tonight, and one is going to be for Thursday's show because I'm trying to create a head now. It's always hard for me to create the day of, which I'm doing today, but I want to get one ahead. So that's what we're doing tonight or today. I'm always on at night, so it's easy for me to say goodnight. Um, and then we're going to pour some other things just because we have resin poured. I don't like to, I'm not a small pour person. I am like, let's pour everything that's on the table, kind of a mixer. I want to mix that resin up only at once, right? So we're going to do a big pour. Let's see what kind of vessel we have to pour into today. I think we're going to go with one we poured in last night. One of these. Dead Ghoul, hello, welcome in. How are you? I'm going to try, I'm just going to pour into this one. I have pretty much everything set up on the table that I need. And then I'm going to put the phone down, and I won't be able to see once I get to start pouring. So I'm going to leave it up until I'm ready to completely pour. So what we're going to pour today is we're going to pour pebbles and glass. Hello, Envy. Welcome in. Pebbles and glass is what we're going to do. Now, if you've never been in my show before, I'm talking about wolves. We're actually going to be pouring these little molds right here. This one is actually falling apart. I have poured them so much. See that whitening that's in there? I already measured out the crushed glass that we're doing. So we're doing pebbles and crushed glass, which is always interesting. And that's why I thought I'd come on and I'd pour these because, hey, Vet's wife, welcome in. Because they're different. But do you see all this whitening? That means that my molds are about to give out. And I'm very sad because the Sitting Wolf, which is this one, is actually my favorite mold. And I can't find them anymore. So I'm going to have to go online and look and see if they have replenished them. Ow! So, are you ready to pour some wolves? I'm excited. I like to get everything ready on the table first. And I actually am going to pour some pink and some red. Let's put a little bit of extra red. Let's do crushed glass on both of these two pinks. This pink and red. I have a best friend keychain also that I've sold that I need to make. So we're going to use pink crushed glass. And we are going to use red crushed glass on those. You can cast when you, I know. And I have them here, and I have the pressure pot, and I'm chicken butt. I have it. Yeah. I bet I'm already kind of well, Brian probably has some that he might let me. Brian loves his wolves though. He might have one that he'll let me cast from, because any one that I make now is going to be off of these that are breaking down. But I do definitely need to do that, Ben. I'm just scared to use the pressure pot. I know. I'm scared, and I know I don't want any bubbles in it, but I can try. So yeah, I do actually have all of the mold making kit stuff. Where is it? Right there. All of that is silicone that needs to be used to make a mold. Maybe since my goal for this month is to do make it with me's, maybe I'll try a mold for the first time on my next create with me. What do you think? Is that the challenge? Are you throwing down the gauntlet? I don't have a wolf down here to do it with. This is the one I would need to do it with. And my molds are bad, so I don't want to cast it off of a bad mold to start with because that'll make a mess. I know. I said I was going to do a demo at least one day a week. So today is the day. And oh, yeah, so I know. I know. Look how pretty it is too. Look how pretty it is. It's in pristine condition. Part of the reason too is I need to make oh, this holder is the worst. Part of it is I also need to make it level, like the inside. Yeah. I My wolves adopt out immediately. So I personally don't have any of my wolves. I will have to take one from somebody else. I don't know that he's going to let me have one of his molds or one of his wolves to possibly um maybe ruin. So I'm going to have to beg him to let me use one of his wolves, and I don't think he's going to let me. Do you guys think Brian's going to let me take one of his wolves and put it in something I don't know how to use? So I've got to make a base for this to also stabilize the pot, because one of the bad things that they did, this one is actually modified for resin, and I don't know why they did this, but they they didn't they did a round bottom, and it needs to be a flat bottom so that I can stabilize it. So okay, we'll see you soon, Ben. And then I can use the pressure pot. So all right, so we have our crushed glass. We have both crushed glasses. So it's interesting that you guys are going to get to see crushed glass and pebbles, because it's a little bit different in working with those than just regular pigments. So let's also pour something regular pigment. Let's do let's do huh. Let's do another wolf. Let's do This is my Native American wolf. This one's really, really beautiful. So let's do this one as well. And we're going to do this in a regular pigment. And I really like this one in the dark colors because there's a ton of beautiful elements in this one. So let's do some browns in it. And my pigments are back here. So let's do, you know what, we haven't done one of these in black yet. We're going to do it in this kind of really pretty charcoal gray color. I don't have an idea for this one what I want to name it and what memory I can go off of. Yes, I do. And I'm going to change the color. See, this is how it happens. This is how it happens. I'm going to change that color to this. Let's see, what is that? To this bronze. We're going to do this one in bronze. Okay. So I think that is what we will pour today. We like to have a few extra little things beside us. So we have one mold, two molds. I'm loving these little crystals that we have here. We're going to put those beside us to see if we need to use those to pour. And I like to get my wipies out in advance because I don't want to get everything I touch sticky. So we've got two of these out. Hi, Slick. Welcome in. And ow, Whimsical Wildflower. Welcome in. Welcome in, Fancy Octopus. I love that. We do have Dr. Pepper in the coffee cup. Because as you guys know, I don't do actual coffee. Okay. My favorite spoon for measuring out my pigments is this one, and I got resin on it this week. I'm so sad. I've been so good at keeping it relatively clean, but I did that, not Brian. I did it, but we're going to blame Brian Weasley anyway. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so I'm going to try and take that off because it's really bugging me, and hopefully I won't ruin the spoon. I feel like I'm going to ruin the spoon. I think I might have to leave it on there. Nope, it came off. Hey, it came off, guys. Okay. That little bit I am going to leave on so I don't actually mess up the paint on it. So I watch a lot of people do resin art on YouTube, and I'm always blown away at how much of the mica powder that they use. It actually drives me insane. We're just going with this amount for that whole mold. That is plenty. You really don't need a whole lot more than that. I buy my own stuff. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I treat it like honestly like I have to buy it. So I use as little as I can possibly get away with, and it's always been enough. I've had the same set of pigments and I've only run low on one of them for and it's a blue because I use blue a lot. And I've had it for almost 4 years. So, and you guys know I pour quite a bit, and I don't think any of my stuff is light. It's all very perfectly pigmented. Not perfectly. That sounded cocky. I mean, it's all very deeply pigmented. So you use sparingly as well. It is expensive. This set cost me like 80 bucks. And that was 4 years ago. I can't imagine what it's costing me now. So we are going to use J Diction today, high gloss epoxy resin, part A and part B. We're going to pour in our part A, which by the way, it's pretty warm in here right now. It's about 68 degrees, which is a little bit cooler than I like to pour, but so we're going to turn on our heater. We have a heater at our feet, and that is going to take our room temperature up. We're going to do 400 cc's today, guys. That means 400 milligrams. Just kidding. It's mLs, which is a lot of resin. So I probably have to get more molds to pour beside me. I actually have the VW bus beside me. Rosie said, hey, to Bet's wife. She didn't say hey to Roro. Just kidding. Tell her I said hi. Is she on spring break today? Okay, so we have part A and part B now poured. And I do have a carpeted floor, and I do, Brian is the messiest creator I know, and he has resin all over the bottles. So I have to already wipe my hands. Yeah, Rosie's pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this down onto the table. So you guys, I won't be able to respond anymore, but look I do have the VW bus. What color should we do the bus? Should we do it in yellow and then just in case? I would love to pour this bus. Should we do it in yellow and then paint the elements? Yes. Okay. I'm going to leave it beside me and hopefully we have enough resin to do it. So we do have 400 mLs, which is a lot of resin, but it goes quickly. All right. We're going to put it down on the table so you guys will not be able to see me anymore. I won't be able to see you. And hopefully I stay on screen. If I stay right here, I feel like that's pretty good. Okay. Well, you know what? You guys do not need to see me stir this for 7 minutes. So I'm going to put it back up so that we can talk while I stir this. So I do stir mine for 7 minutes. So let's see, I have to do math now. That is 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 3, 4, so 5 after. I'm doing the math. 5 after. So I stir mine for 5 minutes. When you are stirring, it's important to scrape the sides of the cup to get the bottom thoroughly. I probably stir more vigorously than most people, which probably drives everybody insane. So I basically stir at this speed. And yes, I do have a mixer. It's just so much of a mess to clean up that I just prefer to just go at it. Just go at it and get it done. Ow, Simplify, welcome in, my friend. Are you at work today? Are you working the lights? Are you working them Kansas City lights? I'm just kidding. You're not in Kansas City. That was the first song that came to my head. I was actually singing that earlier. Yes, he is. You know what? I'm going to pull another wolf up. I just thought of another wolf I can do, just in case, which might bump us out of doing the bus. I need 2 for Thursday, and I like to work. I've been working, I think I've said this several times. I've been working on things that I have to and not things that I want to. So I would like to one day this week just be able to pull everything out, especially the new molds that I've gotten, and start pouring some stuff to pour for me instead of like things that I have to do for shows or things like that. This week's baddie is already in the works. She is already almost done. And then I had another baddie that sold and she is now done. And I have another one that was a commission and she is halfway done. So I am a little bit ahead, but I want to create just to create. I want to create. Oh, you're flagging today. I want to create just to like pour and not have an idea of a sale in mind. Like, do you guys get that way? Do you get where you're like, you feel like you're just creating because you're having to fulfill your shows versus, and then yeah, like the frogs. We have poured frogs and poured frogs and poured frogs. And we finally, both of us just got to our 5th frog. Actually, I think Brian, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think Brian might still have one more frog to do. And he's got to take it to his house and do his show at his house. So he's got to get that last frog done tonight. I did not think it was going to be hard to come up with 5 frogs. But you know what? The problem was we didn't have any UVDTF frogs. So we didn't have that to fall back on. And then we didn't have, we only have 3 molds. We have 1 big one, 1 medium, or 1 small one, and then 1 teeny tiny one. So we did not have enough molds, but between the 2 of us to get these frogs done in the time frame that we left ourselves. So we rushed it a little bit, but they're cute. They're cute. They're not my favorite that I've ever done. Like, I don't feel like I have a showstopper frog, which is not like me, but it'll be what it'll be. It will be what it will be. Maybe I'll embellish and make it a showstopper frog. We'll see. You know, this is actually mixing up perfectly. I have very few bubbles and it's actually already almost clear. So when I talk about scraping the sides, what I mean is like actually, that's a terrible sound, I know. Actually going through and scraping all of the resin off of the sides. And then also scraping your stick, your stir stick, back into the mixture so that you're getting all of that resin that sticks to your stick and mixing it back in as well. So that's what I was talking about. But this one, you get where, okay, do I have to do it for 7 minutes exactly on the dot? I should, but I don't necessarily have to. You can't wait to see all the frogs. Yeah, there's going to be a ton of frogs. A ton of frogs. In fact, Crafty, aren't you going twice? You have 10 frogs. How did you get 10 frogs? Brian and I getting 10 frogs was nearly impossible. And we're 2 people. I think, like I said, it's hard because we had to share. We had to share the molds. Because even though I have a plethora of molds, I don't have a bunch of frog molds. And I think we're going to share a show up and coming. There's one called Body Parts. I don't know if I've actually enrolled in that one yet. But we're going to share and create for that one together. So it's going to be fun to be our first kind of simultaneous raid train if we had help. So my resin's pretty clear. I don't have any fogging. There's fogging, but that's on the outside of the cup because the cup is reused. My resin's pretty clear. So I'm going to just stir for 1 more minute, and then I'm going to go ahead and start pouring. So like I said, you can go the full 7 minutes. It's 3 to 5 minutes. I usually try and do 7. But if you see that your resin is clear and you see that you don't have any more little wispies or any like fogging in there, then you're done. You can be done. You just observed. I love it. You should come and pour with me one day. Just get a little sitter one day and then come and pour. Get it out of your system. See if you like it or not before you buy everything. That's what we do here. We do a lot of arts and crafts and we buy a lot of arts and crafts, and we sell timeshare in the studio so people can come in and create and see if it's something they like to do before they buy everything. Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, I think we're ready. Everything looks pretty clear. Let's put you back down on the table. I'm going to adjust up. Yep. Okay, so we just had a catastrophe, and of course I'm in here by myself, and my clip came off the table. I'm gonna have to go fix this, guys. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna have to fix this without tearing up the... Okay, I did it without spilling resin. Woo! I know, it would be so fun. Okay, we're putting you down on the table again. And I wish it was actually on the table and not... There we go. Okay, resin is mixed and looks good. I'm gonna move forward so I don't get it in my lap, which I do quite often. Looking clear, looking good. Let's put some light on this for you guys. And I always put my stir stick aside. I try not to use it to actually do any of my mixing unless I know I'm gonna throw it away. But this one's still good to use again in the future, so we're gonna save that one. Okay, we're just gonna start mixing stuff up. This is the crushed red glass. And we're gonna let that settle a little bit because the glass will actually drink up that resin. So we're gonna let that sit there for a second. And that's gonna be the same for the pebbles. And by drinking it, this is what I mean. You can see that it's actually drinking the resin. We're going to let it do that for a minute. Look at all those bubbles happening. Ew, bubblicious. And you want that to happen. So we're going to let that settle for a little bit. This is not nearly enough resin, but we're going to let that sit and see what happens. Okay, let's mix up. This one we can go ahead and pour. I almost over poured this cup. Almost over poured that bad boy. Oh, and we also have the crushed pink glass over here to fill. This is a very, very little bit of space. So we don't need much of this at all. We're just going to fill this one up on one side. So that's probably entirely too much, but that's okay. We'll use it in some crystals. All right. Very well used and loved popsicle stick. Because the more they're used and the smoother they get, the better they are for mixing up resin. And we just go at it. I actually do prefer to add the resin and then put in the colorant, but I also learned that I get everything sticky that way. But if I had my ruthers, I'd like to put the pigment on top of the resin, because you have a less of a tendency to leave it in the bottom of the cup. But I mean, it's the same, I guess. If you put it on the top, then you leave it on the sides. So you just have to mix and mix and mix and mix and mix to get it all mixed in there really well. And then I just scrape the bottom because I know that that's where actually all of that pigment is. You see what I'm saying? Look how abundantly beautiful that color is with just that small amount of mica powder that we put in. And I'm sorry if I'm missing comments. I'm just a little girl pouring some resin and I can't see. I should have brought the computer in, but I'm terrified of getting resin on the computer. Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful, beautiful color. And it is not going to be enough to fill the mold I chose. I guarantee you. So that's okay, because we can mix a pour in with this one and it will still color it. It will still color it. And yes, I use the same popsicle stick most of the time to do all of my mixes. I just don't like I don't like the cleanup. I don't like the cleanup. So if I can get away with just using one or two of something, then the less cleanup there is. So this is going to be very bubbly. It's going to need some time to kind of settle before you walk away from it, because it is glass. And we're going to go ahead and put it in the mold because we want to let it settle as much as possible. Let's move this guy over here. We're letting that one settle to let the bubbles pop in. And you know what? I'm going to get some alcohol, 91% alcohol, which is over on the other table. And you see that chair spin around on its own like that? It has taken some things off of the table before. The reason I'm doing this is because these little letters right here have a tendency to make bubbles. And even with spraying them, they still might. They still might. Ooh, that is going to be so pretty. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, yes, you did. Not at once, but twice. Ooh, guys, can you see that? Look how pretty that is. That is pretty. So we already know we have extra. Call. Sorry, I got a phone call, which means I just touched my phone with resin, which is unfortunate. And I don't want to do two crystals the same today, so I'm gonna do a little pink crystal bear. We're gonna fill a bear because it's sitting there beside me. Pink crushed glass bear. Now here's my main problem with working with any sorts of glass or anything is these cups are probably done for. I probably won't be able to use these for anything else because the glass gets stuck in there. I don't know. We might be able to get them all out, but then it makes it hard to stir on everything else. Maybe we got it all out. Maybe. Maybe, baby. Just be careful when you're working with crushed glass too, because it is crushed glass and it is sharp. So it can actually cut you like what I just did. I probably shouldn't have done. And now I like to go back in with this crushed glass because it's muted and add just a little bit more to the top. If I can get some more pink in there, I like that. I prefer that. And I just like to top them off just a little bit because the resin takes the space. And then with this, you can fill in a little bit more. And sometimes that can introduce bubbles as well. And now I got that jar sticky. And then I like to just push them down because this will have to get a top coat anyway, because you don't want to leave crushed glass sticking up through the top. That would be a no-no. All right, I'm going to set these aside now because they are done. And I still have a ton of resin in this vessel right here. And if you leave it like this, it will actually start to cure pretty fast because it's a large amount of resin. So what you remember with resin is this: the more you have, the faster it's going to cure. So you would think that something that's smaller will cure faster, but it's actually the opposite with resin, because resin needs space, it needs heat, and if it's UV, it needs light. So it needs space and heat to cure. So the more space you have, the more heat that's generated, and the faster it cures. I'm spritzing the two little pink ones. So we're going to start pouring these into smaller vessels so that they will not cure as fast. I don't really have a plan for this yet, other than it's possible that it's going to be the, I will go back into it with this one. Why ruin another, why get another cup dirty today, right? And then we're going to do one more. And then I do like to leave a little bit in this one for fills in case in case this isn't enough for something, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, let's go back to this one here. Pick up our stick and let's start working this glass. Get these out of the way. I'm going to start working this glass. And as you can see, it hasn't soaked in a lot because this is a very intense amount of glass. There's a lot in here. And it is just drinking that resin up now. But what will happen is once this resin and this glass settle together, the clear resin will actually rise to the top. So you got to make sure that if you don't want a little layer of clear, you have to make this really, really intense. Like a lot of glass to a little bit of resin. And because it's thick and chunky, it's hard to work with. I'm not even on camera. Sorry. We're filling our little other side of our heart with this crushed glass. They requested pink and red. So why not do some pink and red crushed glass on this one? And this red will be the perfect one to show that you can see like that top layer of resin when it rises to the top. Okay, we're going to push that one aside. And we're going to start working this into our wolf. And the number one place to get bubbles on these guys is in their ears and under their chin. And their ears and under their chin are the worst. And I'm sorry if you're commenting, I cannot see you because the phone is on the table. It's directed to the table. So we're going to work this into the ears over here. And we're going to work it into his face and into his mouth area before we go on, because those are the areas that usually get impacted with bubbles. And I feel like this is a little bit on the dry side. I'm going to add just a slight bit of resin to this, like super slight. Just a super slight amount, because I want to be able to fill in the crevices a little bit easier. Yeah, I feel like that's perfect. And we're just going to add just a couple of drops to this one. And I mean literally just a couple of drops. And then just like massage it in so you get all of those areas. You can see he's pretty filled in. His ears look pretty good. We're going to get some bubbling with this anyway because of the nature of what we're putting in here. We're going to get bubbles, but we can still do our best to make sure that we're filling in voids. Okay, then I stop another halfway bit through to pack that in. Make sure we get all of those little crevices in his midway body parts. Get that little bit off the table before I stick my arm in it, which I usually do. And then we just keep going. Just keep going till he's full. This really makes a beautiful wolf. It really, really does. This will be the second of this one, and I will reveal the name and all of that stuff tonight. I will do a name reveal tonight. If you've been with me the whole wolf journey, you may remember this one. I think he was actually only the third wolf that was released. So that's a pretty big deal. That's going back. That's going back almost a year now. So we're going to try and get a lot of this glass out of here without creating an extra layer of resin at his feet. Because there's still a lot. Like I said, this will be the death of this cup. We won't be able to use this cup again. And I think I took just enough. I took just enough of that glass for the heart. And we're not going to have enough to fill him up. What a bummer. It's a bummer, guys. Which means I have to touch this. Oh, we'll pick that up later. We'll pick that up later. See, these are super messy. This is like probably one of the messiest pours. Is this and sand. Like when you're working with sand, it's also super messy like this. Anything that you're adding like a super thick element is going to be that way. I may have added a little bit too much resin on that. If you come back tonight, I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to hopefully keep his feet filled, but they may actually resin clear because we put too much resin in that last little bit. Hopefully his little feet will stay filled with red and not move down. All right, so he is ready to go into the cooker because we're going to actually put these in the resin curing station today because we need them for tonight. So it takes about 2 hours with crushed glass. I don't know. It may take a little bit longer. It may take less time because I'm thinking it's going to take more simply because it's less resin to heat up. But it could go faster too because it's crushed glass, which is somewhat reflective. So I don't know. We'll have to see. This is the first time I'm putting crushed glass into the curing machine, so we'll see what happens. It may be a catastrophe. We're just filling up some little crystals with our leftovers, and let's do some little crushed red bears. This won't be a set. We'll just sell these separately. Like the bear is one set, and then these little guys will be a second set. We may not even have enough to fill. We may not even have enough to fill the bears. Hopefully I'm on screen. Hopefully we can fill these little bears. So just so you know, I turn a little bit British occasionally in my lab. I don't know why. Okay, sorry, I'm concentrating here. Yeah, we're not going to have enough to fill the second bear. We might if we use a different device. If anybody ever comes across these and you don't want them, please send them my way. I love this thing, and I can't find it to order it. But it is absolutely the best. It is the best little device for getting that last little bit of resin out of anything. I guess it's kind of like a tiny little spatula, but it's hard. It's not like soft based at all. It's a pretty stiff little spatula. We're definitely not going to have enough if we put it on the table. And now you guys know the messy, messy side of resin. I'm sure that I'm driving you guys all crazy that are neat pourers. I don't necessarily consider myself a super neat pouring person. I make my share of messes for sure. I think we had just enough. We're going to have to backfill them. We'll have to put a little bit of UV resin on them. But I think we had just enough for that, guys. Neato. You can let that dry, honestly, and it will just peel right off. You don't have to wipe them up. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. All right, so next we have this little guy over here. We have the resin already poured for it, so let's get it moving. Look at that beautiful color going in. And so as I said, I knew I wasn't going to have enough because this cup is just not going to be enough. So we're going to go ahead and add some more resin to it right now. And you'll see that there's still enough pigment in this cup to continue pouring this thing the same way. Now I do this to fill in all of those little spaces, just like I do on most of my molds. And then you can actually take and pour, because this has fur on the back. Like most of my wolves have this, like these raised ridges of fur, and it helps to coat them in advance to create a barrier so that it doesn't create a bubble spaces. So I just move it around in there to get those little furs on the back of the body filled. And then we hope by the time that I'm going to get another stir stick because I used that one for crushed glass. And as you can see, it did not affect, even adding that resin, it did not affect or take away from the color of this wolf. And you know what? It's still not going to be enough. So we may actually have to get some more pigment out. I forget how big this wolf is. A lot of resin. I should be putting his adoption higher, but it's okay. We'll leave him at his regular price. I can donate a little bit of that in. Ooh, so pretty. He's so, 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 so pretty. Yeah, we're going to have to add some more pigment this time, guys. Can usually get a second one out of it, but usually not a third. Usually not a third pour. And I honestly think that we are going to be able to do a whole full thing again. And maybe even a second time. I should have used a bigger glass. I'm going to use my second wipey. I usually keep 2 out and wipe my hands down really good because I have to touch my pigment bottles again. And this is how I keep from getting them sticky. And I'm a big advocate for not dumping your resin in, your pigments in, because 1, you can get too much, and 2, you can pop that back into your face. And it is metallic. It is a metallic substance. So you don't want to get that in your lungs. Should I be wearing a mask? Absolutely. I should have. I forgot because I was talking to you all instead of doing what I was supposed to do. Oh my goodness, guys, that is such a beautiful color. I can't wait to see this wolf unmolded. So we're going to add some more resin because we know we're going to need it. And this is still highly pigmented, so we have plenty of colorant to do that. We might be able to get it with just this. Okay, we're going to let that sit for just a second because we want to let those bubbles rise. And let's go back over here to pebbles. And let's get these stirred up. Remember, these are the black chunky pebble rocks. And they're really pretty good sized rocks. So you'll be able to get all of these in your, and you can reuse this cup in your space, and you can reuse your popsicle stick. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one that I did with the other one. I want to make sure and really get those into the spaces that they need to be in. So we're going to squish it into his ears real good. And this is harder because it is bigger chunks. So if you're working with bigger chunks like this, don't be afraid to actually fill some more resin in, because I'm probably not going to be able to get rocks into those ears. And then even if I do get them into the ears, it's not going to cure properly because there's not enough space. So it's okay to add a little bit of negative space in the top of this one because you want to make sure that those ears stay filled in. And the negative space in this one is actually really cute. You also want to make sure that you get some in the nose. But I really do like the negative space in the Pebbles one, as long as it's just not in his feet. And the rocks are heavy, so they're going to stay down. They're not going to float up. So that'll be okay. We're at that beyond halfway point again, so we want to make sure we're filling in his entire body. This is why I do this at the halfway point, because if they're filled, then you can't really do this tap. If you watch Steve McDonald, it's called a tappy wappy or a squidgy widgy. I just love him. Absolutely love him. He's such a good artist and a great guy. Oh my gosh, he is the messiest creator, though. I know. He is the messiest. And then Brian's a close second. But Brian he's loving it. He's loving it. And his creations are good. His ideas are great. A lot of some of the things that you guys have loved that I've made has been Brian Weasley's thought processes. So I think we pretty much got most of the pebbles out of there. So we're now going to make sure that we fill his feet and his tail. And you can already see that negative space from the, so his feet are going to be clear if I don't add more stones to that. So unfortunately, again, going to have to touch one of my jars. And I am going to add some more because we want to fill his feet and his tail up. We want to fill his feet and his tail. And trust me, those will sink in and get covered in resin. I don't like to do that, though, because it does introduce bubbles. So I'll have to come back and watch him carefully. See those bubbles already starting? All right, we're going to set him aside. When you do big pours like this, you're always working on like several different things at once. And so you got to keep an eye on your resin and make sure that it's not changing temperatures on you so you don't get a flash cure. I want to just squeeze again and see if I can get some of those bubbles back off of that back hairline. They're super, super hard to fill. I have yet to do one of these that doesn't have bubbles on the back of that fur. So let's see how this one goes today. Just as I thought, guys. Not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. I'm just going to take this and make sure there's no stones on it. So we know there's enough pigment in there. We can add some more. And I think that's going to be enough. And try not to throw your napkin on your previously created stuff that's sitting on the corner over here or waiting to be put in the oven, because I just did that. Dur, dur, dur. And that should fill it. Almost, but not quite. because the reason that does look full, and I could probably quit there, but this one actually has a base that makes it sit better. Still enough pigment in this cup. There's still enough. Even after a second pour, we're fine. And I do see a slight coloration difference on that, with that last one that we just poured in. So it's okay to do this. You can go ahead and mix it in just a little bit inside your mold, as long as you're super careful. This is a very, very flimsy little mold, so you have to be careful with it. As you can see it moving. So we definitely want to set this bad boy off to the side. And I said I had an idea for this one, and now I don't remember what it was. I don't remember. I know it was brown. I know it was brown, but I don't remember what it was. Dang it. I hate being old and not having a memory. Man, it was a good one, too. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay. All right, let's do our bus. Let's do our bus. It's a sweet pickle bus. Beep, beep. I'm just kidding. You guys are too young to remember what a sweet pickle bus is. You are just too young. Simplify may remember. But the rest of you, probably not so much. I want to do, I don't know why I feel like this bus should be yellow, but I just feel like this bus should be yellow. We're going to use up as much of our resin as we can because resin is expensive. We know that's not going to be enough to do the bus, so we're just going to keep going here, pouring resin in until our cup is full. And what color yellow? We did not get yellow when our hands were clean. We didn't get yellow, guys, when our hands were clean. What kind of yellow? Ooh, I think this yellow. I think this yellow is very pretty. I feel pretty. I'm so pretty. This is a big piece. I still think we can get away with that much. We dropped stuff, but it's okay. It's okay. We're good. It's all good. We're going to move this out of the way so we don't ruin that. I am working over wax paper. I just started doing that. I don't know why I haven't done it sooner. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier for cleanup. I was cleaning up my mat every time. This is so much better. I see yellow. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second and I'm almost done with all the resin that I have. So once we get all the resin poured, I'll be able to take my gloves off and put the screen up so I can see again. But there's a ton of resonators in the room, maybe not a ton, but there's a few resonators in the room that might be able to answer those questions. If you guys want to field that, it would be great. Unless it's a personal question that I can only answer, which I think it'd probably be a resin question. Everything's getting sticky. Everything is getting sticky. I have no idea how much this bus takes. Pretty color. And that's plenty of resin. Plenty of resin. All right, here we go. I think I'm going to add a little bit. There's a lot of little crevices in here. So we're going to put some 91% alcohol in there. All right. This may not be enough. We may have to use some more. Oh, look how pretty that yellow is. I think it might be plenty. Oh no, it's not going to be enough. I think it's going to be just shy. And we did not add enough pigment to do a second round of colorant. Man, it's just a tiny little bit shy. But here's the thing. We've got a little bit more too. We have a slight bit of resin left in our containers. And I always like to go through and make sure that I've gotten them all out of the extra pour ones that I did earlier. Okay. I am not going to mix the color into this one because I like to reuse my cups. And we just literally poured that on the table, not looking at what we were doing. Because I was thinking, I need a bigger stick. I brought a pocket knife to a sword fight. We need a big one here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I poured that on the table. Hence why I'm very glad that we are using wax paper. That's right, we're going to scoop that up and we're going to put it in there. Why? Because resin's expensive. I'm going to use this one to do my pigment because it wipes off easy. And the spoon is metal. It does not. Might have been a little bit much on the pigment. Might have been a little heavy. But that's okay. But that's okay. Yeah, it was kind of heavy on the pigment. I'm in a rush now because the resin's starting to thicken up. So we're starting to get some heat on it, which is okay. This is the last of it. Like, we're good. But see those bubbles that are starting to happen in it? And this is definitely a different color of yellow than what we put in. And will that matter? Possibly. But we're going to do the stick swirl just like we did a minute ago. Look at that. It was the perfect amount to do the bus. Yay. I'm happy. I don't think I might be able to unmold this tonight, depending on how well our wolves do. We're mixing in that darker yellow with the lighter yellow, and that's not going to be a problem. In fact, I think it'll be pretty if it's a little too tony. Might be pretty. I do want to make sure and fill this one all the way up because I think those are the tires, and we don't want to have flat tires. So I'm going to get every little bit of resin that I can into that. And I think it could have used a little bit more, to be honest. But I don't have any more. I don't have any more. You guys can definitely see my pouring space is not level. So do you see the resin moving towards this side? Where I cure is actually level. Where I pour is not. And all that matters is where it cures. Okay. I'm going to take these gloves off because they're horrifically sticky. And I don't want to touch my devices. And bring you back up. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Don't get cut. I do all the time, but let's see. What am I doing this morning? I'm pouring a bunch of stuff code. Ow! We poured some wolves for the first time. What will get bit up? Well, hello, Molly, young artist. Welcome in. Remember what? Guys, guess what happened to me this night? I can go to my resin Barbie bottle. Oh no, Molly, a resin catastrophe. Is it possible to make a mold of, say, a body part safely? So yes, you'd have to make another body. You'd have to make a mold out of something else and then cast, like, in plaster of Paris, and then cast that in resin later. Yeah. Okay. So, we're pretty much done with pouring everything that we were going to pour today and then some. And welcome in, Mindsol. So we have our curing station is over here behind us. Let's see if I can do that without dipping the cords in here. No, I cannot. It is already full of stuff that I poured last night that's not dry today. Okay. Sorry. It's pretty much dry. They're pretty much sort of dry. That was a really close up on my face. These are all waiting to be unmolded tonight. So that's a sneak peek. I almost showed you one of Brian's frogs. He would have been upset with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move all of whatever I can fit over there. I might actually take some of these pieces out because they're not like critical unmolding for tonight. And I have several hours before 8:30, right? So I can put a lot of this stuff in the curing pot after this one goes through and still have enough time to unmold them tonight. But what is the most critical is the wolves, because it is a wolf night. So we want to have at least 2 wolves to unmold tonight, and we poured 3 today, which will leave me 2 more for because I had one already. Will leave me 2 for Thursday, which means I will be done ahead. So you won't get to see 2 of the ones that we poured today. So if you guys want to be in tonight and you want to vote on which ones you want to see, you can vote by color: black, red, brown, or the other one I'm going to show. Either way. Yeah, 7 hours. So I have plenty of time to do that. But I also do have errands to run and family to take care of. So it depends on if I can get back to the house in time to get them cured. And I did this show totally without any lip gloss, and I'm dying. I need lip gloss in the studio. Note to self. So the creation station is a mess right now. We are definitely in mess mode, and I still have shipping to do. So I'm gonna close this session out. I will see you guys tonight at 8:30, and I will have all of these out to choose. I don't remember. And I was gonna do another wolf, and I don't remember what that was either. I asked if tonight we can get you guys can choose which ones you want to see, which two wolves you want to see. And then I will save the rest for Thursday. All right, guys, I'm gonna go and something about a bust. I don't know. I think somebody asked if you can make a cast a body part, which you can, but you have to do it out of another material first. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna head out. I will see you guys tonight. Thanks for joining. Let's see who else is on. Who else can we raid? I don't think any of our resin artists were going to be on today unless they were doing pop-ups until 4. So let's choose a totally random person. Let's do a pick for me. Crafty's at 1. Oh, Crafty's at 1. Oh, geez, that's so close. That is so close. But there's only 3 people in here. Let's raid out. And then I'll be in your show at 1 also. Okay, I can do that. There's only 3 of us, so I think it's me, you, and her probably. Now there's only 2 of us. It's just me and you. It's literally me and you, friend. My screen has got makeup on it as usual. Hello, Leanne. We did pouring today. We made a mess. And I'm waiting. Simplify said he was going to see if Crafty would get on a few minutes early to raid into her. So, yeah, we did. I did the wolves for tonight. And I wanted to pour them live because I've never poured the wolves live. And I also made a goal for myself that I would do at least once a week a craft with me. So I thought that might be a good one to start with. Yeah, I'm trying to get more proactive on my social medias. I need to go though because I was supposed to be at my mom's at 1. Supposed to be at my mom's at 1. Oh, you got it to work? How did you like it? Oh, you love it. I love the way it looks. I too want to do it, but I don't know if I know I can't do the expense right now. So that was for me, it was that. It was the expense. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just the 3 of us anyway, so I got to be at my mom's at 1 and I still got to get all this stuff up there. So I'm going to head out. I'm going to just go into a random person that Whatnot chooses for me so we can make new friends. So, all right, we'll see you guys later. I'll see you at 8:30 tonight. And Leanne, I can't wait to go into your show and see the OBS. All right, guys, we're going to raid. We're going to raid. We're going to have it pick for me. See you later. Okay, we're going to try that again. It didn't tell me who we're raiding into. It's not showing up here, so we'll figure out what happens. Okay, bye.